Joining us on the broadcast is our panel of guests. We have Neha Joshi, who's the spokesperson of BJP. We also have Radhika Khera, who's the national spokesperson of the Congress Party. Abhijit Majumdar, who's the consulting editor of First Post, and Rajalakshmi Joshi, who's an author, is also joining us on the broadcast. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the show. I want to cut across to Neha first. Neha, a lot of criticism on the expected lines coming in from the opposition parties, where they say this is simply about reinventing the legacy and you have not done anything new.
Thank you, Anusha. So, the larger Central Vista project serves two objectives, part of which is, the capacity enhancement of the existing government buildings so that they can be more efficient, they can be more effective. And the part that is going to be dedicated to the public today, the KartavyaPath. We need to conserve our heritage, but we also have to understand that the India that we live in today, the new India that Prime Minister Modi constantly talks about, it's aspires to shed the colonial hangover and move forward. Today, the criticism that the Congress Party and other opposition parties actually have been they've been going on and on about it for the past 2 years. They said this is Modi ka mahal. Today, when Prime Minister opens this up for the rest of the country, for the Aam Aadmi of the country to come and visit, they may not feel this is a necessity because they are they're a bunch of entitled elites who can go to Italy and France and walk the boulevards. But, if you look at the common people of India, they feel a sense of pride when they look at the new and improved and a more Indian KartavyaPath, as the Prime Minister dedicates it to the nation today. So I think the time for Central Vista really had come, and I'm glad that we're witnessing the grand unveiling of it. And Subhash Chandra Bose ji, he is going to himself, his statue, the grand statue, is going to be looking over this KartavyaPath.
And I think everybody will celebrate that across party lines, though we have had some jibes coming in from some parties. Radhika Khera from the Congress Party is also with us in the studio. Radhika, what is the problem that the Congress Party has with this kind of redevelopment project or model that the Prime Minister is talking about, or the renaming of Rajpath to KartavyaPath? I mean, this is about shedding colonial legacy, or you don't buy that argument?
See, first of all, I'm extremely happy today that there is a change and that the Prime Minister, his RSS, BJP have finally realized who Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose ji was. Because if you remember, when Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose ji was forming his Azad Hind Force, what was Veer Savarkar doing? He was calling upon the Indian youth to join the British Army to fight against our Swatantrata Senanis, fight against this Azad Hind Force.
I'll come to you, Neha.
So today, when they are finally realizing and giving Netaji the place that they should have given him back then and stood by him to fight against the Britishers, that is finally happening now. At least they're recognizing that. So that is something which is, I am appreciating that. Now, having said that, when you talk about changing the name, what is actually the kartavya of a ruler, of a prime minister? In a country like India, which is the world's largest democracy, his responsibilities are much, much higher than those of other nations as well. Now, earlier, if you remember, he changed the name of Racecourse Road to Lok Kalyan Marg. किसका कल्याण हुआ? Mr. Gautam Adani, who no one knew for 8 years, and he became the world's third richest man.
Radhika
so it is about the kalyan.
I allowed you all your political arguments, but answer this question. The question for the Congress Party is that after independence, it's the Indian National Congress which ruled at the center for most part of our history. Why did you preserve the colonial symbols? That's what BJP is asking. They're also asking that why were other big leaders like a Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose or a Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel were not celebrated with the same fervor as they should have been? That's the question of the opposition, your political opponents. Please answer that.
See, unfortunately, by just taking Mahatma Gandhi ji's name, making a huge statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel ji, does not mean that Prime Minister Modi ji's faith in them is restored. That is not happening. Are you forgetting his own member of parliament?
Yes, Neha, I'll come to you.
What did she say about Mahatma Gandhi ji's killers? And what did Modi ji say in return? मैं सिर्फ दिल से उन्हें माफ नहीं करूंगा. She continues to be a member of parliament. They have not thrown her out. See, you have to walk the talk. Like I said, you can make a kartavya.
A quick response from Neha, then I'll bring in Abhijit ji and Rajalakshmi ji also into the discussion. Neha, please go ahead.
Anusha, it's a travesty that Ms. Khera does not remember that until the 60s, King George V statue stood where Netaji's statue is going to be, going to stand tall today. Under the Congress rule, who ruled the country for years and years after independence? Can she explain to the nation why that decision was not taken earlier? One. Second, she talks about Kartavya, though all the political arguments, the same, long drawn arguments that she's doing. Ask about that Kartavya to the 80 crore people who got free ration. Ask about the Kartavya to the 20 crore women who got direct benefit transfer, even through COVID, because they had Jan Dhan accounts, because they had mobiles, because we have a digital economy. So, while Ms. Khera would like to make these arguments, which are highly political in nature, but also facetious, it's important that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose deserved this place. And the Congress failed to honor him. 2019 was the first time that Azad Hind Fauj veterans were part of the Republic Day ceremony. Why was it not done earlier? Those are the questions that Ms. Khera needs to answer, and the Congress party needs to answer.
I will bring in Radhika ji once again into the discussion. Before that, Abhijit Majumdar, I'm coming to you. It is important to have the right historical symbols. I think it's important to have your roads named after the icons you want to celebrate, statues built of the leaders who you celebrate as a nation, and to have colonial legacies and effort that the government is making. Do you see any kind of substance in the allegations that the opposition parties are making that this is mere gimmick and they haven't really walked the talk? Abhijit ji.
Well, I'm just wondering what problem do they have with Netaji being placed there instead of King George?
Yeah.
And what problem do they have with India, with the new India, doing away with vestiges of colonialism, which had not been removed for so long? I mean, can you imagine a mass murderer like Aurangzeb had a main road named after him for such a long time? It's like having a road named after Hitler in Israel. It's terrible. So, first of all, there is a matter of the mind getting out of the prison of colonialism. Second, there is utility. In 2026, after we have once we have the delimitation, etc., the number of MPs will be manifold, and will increase. So we needed a new parliament to house them. In fact, the current parliament was not designed to be a parliament, bicameral parliament. UPA itself, Congress itself had proposed a new parliament building in 2012, if I remember right. So I don't find any sort of on some things the opposition or the Congress should actually stand with government, because otherwise fine, they can criticize every single thing, but what happens is it's actually self-defeating. The people are watching. People see that there is opposition for no reason at all. In fact, the new India that is emerging is very proud of itself. It doesn't look at colonial legacy with any pride at all.
Abhijit, whether it's our education or whether it's our symbols, our infrastructure, I think colonial symbols should be done away with. It's time. I'll give